15 states have seceded.
The United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
Let me know if you want to try anything on.
I guess aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America.
We just try to stay out. With what we see on the news, seems like it's for the best.
Citizens of America.
The so-called Western forces of Texas and California
Have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens?
We're moving to D.C. today.
You need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death. Flooded.
Every time I survived a war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay?
Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
The Western forces will reach the White House on July 4th.
Oh my God.
Get in the car! Get in the car!
Move, move, move!
You're gonna hang back.
I'm not hanging back.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go, 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 go!
God bless America.
All empires fall. This is the book of Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, and it reads, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry." All right, Shalom. Before I get started with this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Double salutations to all you Akim out there laboring in the house of David, the elect, that's pushing his word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you, brothers, and shalom to the elect. I'm back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakah Quadash. And I just wanted to follow up on some information that we were bringing out at camp yesterday. A couple of articles here. So this first one here is this is from the newsweek.com. The headline, it reads, it says, "Millions of angry armed Americans stand ready to seize power if Trump loses in 2024. All right. It's going down, man. However you want to look at it. All the subliminals, the predictive programming is right in your face. All right. That's exactly what the whole January 6th incident was about. It was Esau basically programming and putting that spirit out there for the sedition and the rebellion to happen. Millions of angry, armed Americans stand ready to seize power if Trump loses in 2024. All right, so let's read a little bit here. We were bringing this out at camp. I just wanted to, just grab these, few articles here and just, bring it out. So reading on here, it says, Mike, quote, Wampus Neesney is a 73-year-old Vietnam veteran who walks with a cane from the combat wounds he received during his service. That disability doesn't keep Neesney from making a living selling custom motorcycle luggage racks from his home in Gainesville, Georgia. Neither will it slow him down when it's time to visit Washington, D.C. heavily armed and ready to do his part in overthrowing the U.S. government. All right. So Esau is just putting all this stuff out in the news here. All right. It says millions of fellow would-be insurrectionists will be there too. Nizhny says, a quote ticking time bomb targeting the Capitol. All right. So we're reading. You see the language that's in this in this article here, man. All right. Things are about to get intense, man. It says there are lots of fully armed people wondering what's happening to this country, and that's what it is. All right. People clearly see that something is wrong. All right. You know, the government is corrupt. All right. These people that are supposed to be for the people are not for the people. All right. And these Edomites, they see that. All right. It says there are lots of fully armed people wondering what's happening to the country, he says. Are we going to let Biden keep destroying it, or do we need to get rid of him? We're only going to take so much before we fight back. The 2024 election, he adds, may well be the trigger, right? As we've been telling you since the new year, so-called new year came in, that this so-called 2024 election could be the catalyst to this thing. All right, as these movies that are continuously coming out showing you, all right, the state of America where it's about to be. All right, you see this. Cities on fire. All right. Basically just the whole this whole society just coming to a wreck, you know. Reading on here. It says Nizhny is no loner. His political comments on the social media site Kiora received 44,000 views in the first 2 weeks of November and more than 4 million overall. He is one of the many rank and file Republicans who own guns in the recent months have talked openly of the need to take down by force, if necessary, a federal government they see as illegitimate, overreaching, and corrosive to American freedom. All right. So these Edomites are really about to get active. All right. You know, they're about, taking America back, and they've been chanting that for some time now, man. All right. They're ready to take power in their own hands. All right. And this is the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai bringing forth that division. All right. It says the phenomenon goes well beyond the growth of militias who have been a future of American life, at least since the Ku Klux Klan rose to power after the Civil War. Groups like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, which took part in the January 6th riot at the Capitol and may have played organizational roles, have grown in membership. Law enforcement has long tracked and often infiltrated these groups. What Nizhny represents is something else entirely, a much larger and more diffuse movement of more or less ordinary people. Stoked by misinformation, knitted together by social media, and well armed. In 2020, 17 million Americans bought 40 million guns. And in 2021, we're on track to add another 20 million. All right, so that's a total, 60 million guns that have been bought by these Edomites. It says if historical trends hold, the buyers will be overwhelmingly white. See, these are Edomites, man. All right. It says Republican, Southern, or rural. It says America's massive and mostly Republican gun rights movement dovetails with a growing belief among many Republicans that the federal government is an illegitimate tyranny that must be overthrown by any means necessary. The combustible formula raises the threat of armed large-scale attacks around the 2024 presidential election, attacks that could make the January 6th insurrection look like a toothless stunt by comparison. All right, because that was the setup. That was to get this thing going. All right, because it came out that all that was orchestrated anyway. Those were ex-military, ex-federal agents in the midst, all that was set up, all right, to push forth this. It says, quote, the idea that people would take up arms against an American election has gone from completely far-fetched to something we have to start planning and preparing for, says University of California, Los Angeles law professor Adam Winkler, an expert on gun policy and constitutional law. And as they showed you in this video here, or this movie that's coming out, it said that Texas and California were the main ones, you know, that was pretty much setting this off, you know. So it's already been laid out. Okay. Let's read a little bit more. We'll grab a scripture or two. Jumping down here, it says both Democrats and Republicans are rapidly losing faith in the integrity of U.S. elections. Democrats worry that voter suppression and election interference from Republican state officials will deny millions of Americans that their say at the polling booths. All right, because your vote doesn't matter anyway. But that's the scam that they're going to continue to push. That you have an opportunity to change, you know, the direction America's headed by voting. But we already know that these candidates that they choose are already set up. All right, so it's just a big sham either way. Reading on here. Let's jump down. Just want to hit the main points here. So it said, jumping down here, this paragraph, it says, if armed violence erupts the 2024 elections, quelling it could fall to the U.S. military, which they showed you in the clip. All right, the U.S. military had to fire on American citizens. It says if armed violence erupts in 2024 elections, quelling it could fall to the U.S. military, which may be reluctant to take arms against U.S. citizens. And this is why they have those foreign troops already over here. All right, those UN troops that have no problem, firing against American citizens because, you know, right now you already have, you know, these U.S. soldiers that are being shipped to the Middle East right now. All right, and these foreign troops are entering into the land. All right, it says in that case, the fate of the nation might well be decided by a simple fact. A big subset of one of the two parties has for years been systematically arming itself for this very reason. Last verse here, or last paragraph. Matter of fact, we'll come back to it. I'll read this last one, but let's grab a scripture real quick. All right, let's go to 2 Ezra 16. All right, very, very, terrible times are coming, man. All right, this is 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 17. And it reads, it says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? All right, speaking about these days that we're living in right now. It says the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, all right, World War III and also Civil War. The beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. All right. So these are the penalties, the judgments, all right, that are getting ready to happen. It says, but for all these things, they should not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Right. So here it is. All these things are being laid out in front of you. Right. The talks of civil war, this American society breaking down, all of these movies, you know, giving you a foreshadowing what's to come in the future. And our people, all right, you tribes, you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and Hispanics, all right, you don't even care. You don't have a fucking clue. Right. That's why so many Jakes are going to get caught up by surprise when these things go down. Right. It says, verse 21, it says, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case, even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. All right. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escaped the hunger shall the sword destroy, man. So either way, all right, if you're not covered by Yahweh Shem Shai, ultimately, if you're not part of the elect, all right, you're going to be consumed in these judgments that the Lord has in store. It says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down, right? As we saw in the beginning, right? The cities were cast down, right? See? You know, highways, cars, you know, destroyed. Cities cast down. All right? It says, matter of fact, let's go back to this article here. All right? I just want to read a little bit more. This was a heavy news article here. Just going to read a little bit more. So it says, let's see, bear with me. It says evidence that a significant portion of Republicans are increasingly likely to resort to violence against the government and political opponents is growing. More than 100 violent threats, many of them death threats, were leveled at poll workers and election officials in battleground states in 2020, according to an investigation by Reuters published in September. All those threat makers whom Reuters could contact identified as Trump supporters. You see that? So basically, right here, just by reading this, if you're for Trump, all right, you're going to be identified as a violent extremist. All right. It says, in October 2020, 13 men were charged with plotting to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, a Democrat. All of them were aligned with the political right. Nearly a third of Republicans agree that true American patriots may have to resort to violence in order to save our country. All right. So like I said, these Edomites are ready to get active. All right. To save their beloved America. All right. But it's going down regardless. And that's the will of Yahweh Shem Shai. All right. No saving Babylon, no restoring it, no healing this place. It says, according to a September poll conducted by the Public Religion Research Institute nonpartisan group, that's 3 times as many as the number of Democrats who felt the same way. Guns are becoming an essential part of the equation. Americans are increasingly wielding guns in public spaces, roused by persons they politically oppose or public decisions with which they disagree, concludes an August article in the Northwestern University Law Review. All right. It says guns were plentiful when hundreds of anti-vid precaution protesters gathered at Michigan State Capitol in May 2020. Some of the armed protesters tried to enter into the Capitol chamber, man. So this thing is going to take off, man. All right. It's a long article. All right. But you get it. All right. It's getting real heavy, man. So anyway, going back to that scripture that we were reading here in 2 Ezra 16, right? Let's read verse 23 again. 2 Ezra 16, verse 23. It says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung. There should be no man to comfort them. The earth shall be wasted, and the cities be cast down. All right. And that's going to happen when these things break out. All right. It says, there shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? Right. Because it's going to be a lack of people, man. All right. You know, you got World War III. You're going to have another draft. All right. Where these men and women are going to get drafted over there to fight in this World War III out there in the Middle East. All right. It's going to be a lack of people in the cities. All right. Towns and cities destroyed. All right. No work. You see, it says the grapes shall ripen. Who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men. You see that? It's going to be a lack of people, man. You know, it says, so that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. For of a city there should be 10 left, and 2 of the field which shall hide themselves in thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks, right? Because you're going to have people hiding out in the mountains, in the woods. All right. These people have their bug out bags, their bunkers. You know, it says, as in an orchard of olives upon every tree, there are left 3 or 4 olives. when a vineyard is gathered, there are some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so, in those days, there should be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. You see that? All right. And that's the time that's coming, man. All right. It's going to be invasions. People are going to be, like it says, searching their houses with the sword, looking for resources, food, water. You see what I'm saying? It says, and the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all of her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel there through. See that? Cities cut off. All right. You're not going to have access to different towns, different streets and highways. All right. It says, the virgin shall mourn having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. So you got World War III, you got the draft, you got Civil War. All right, you got all types of chaos and destruction that's going to pretty much hit these streets, man. All right, that's going to consume, Babylon from coast to coast. All right, it says, hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. And we understand these things. This is the will of Yahweh Shem Shai. This is prophecy. These things have to happen. Behold the word of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, receive it, believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, right? And let's make a point on that. All right, as we were reading this the other day too. This is from the Telegraph. It says U.S. to station nuclear weapons in UK to counter threat from Russia, right? So it says the United States is planning to station nuclear weapons in the UK for the first time in 15 years as the threat from Russia increases. All right, these plagues are not slacking. Pentagon documents seen by the Telegraph reveal procurement contracts for a new facility in the RAF Lakenheath in Suffolk confirmed that the U.S. intends to place nuclear warheads 3 times the strength of the Hiroshima bomb at the airbase. So they're supplying UK with nuclear missiles 3 times the strength of the Hiroshima bomb that was dropped on Japan. All right, the UK is about to go to war with Russia. See. The U.S. removed nuclear missiles from the UK in 2008, judging that the Cold War threat from Moscow had diminished. The disclosure comes in the wake of warnings that NATO countries need to ready their citizens for war with Russia. And I saw on social media, I guess somebody from the UK had recorded the news out there. And on the news out there in the UK, they told the citizens to basically to get ready to go to war with Russia. All right, it's on the streams on Instagram and social media right now. It says, jumping down, it says General Sir Patrick Sanders, the head of the British Army, went on to warn that the public would need to be called up to fight if there was a war with Russia because the army was too small. His comments forced Downing Street to rule out conscription. All right. So those NATO nations are getting ready to clash with Russia, man. It says Russia has stated the placement of U.S. weapons in Britain would be viewed by Moscow as an escalation and would be met with compensating countermeasures. As well as the conflict in Ukraine, the West is facing rising challenges from Iran and North Korea, which have both grown closer to Moscow in recent years, right? Because these nations that are enemies of America are aligning themselves with Russia. All right. Let's see. Finishing it out here, it says on Friday, Britain, France, and Germany condemned Iran for launching a new satellite to guide long-range missiles. Tehran is enriching uranium for possible use in developing nuclear weapons, man. It's going down, man. Heavy times, man. All right, and I'll post these in the description box as well. All right, so let's just finish this out. So back in 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 37, it says, Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. As a woman As when a woman with child in her 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains can pass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth. The world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. This is happening, man. All right? Sorrows are getting ready to come upon this world on every side, man. It's going down. You see? All right? Another one, last one here from the AmericanFirstReport.com. It says, most Americans are literally living on the edge of disaster. All right? Sorrows on every side, man. Plagues, destruction, and calamity. All right? Because as all of this is going on, remember, the economy is pretty much on its last leg as well. Because they got to hurry up and usher in this charagma, this CHIP. All right? And I'll just read this paragraph real quick. But it says there's a tremendous disconnect between the economic numbers that the government has given us and what most Americans are personally experiencing on a daily basis. The government says that inflation is low, but the cost of living just continues to spiral out of control. The government says that unemployment is low, but Challenger, Gray, and Christmas says that the number of layoffs in the U.S. was up to 98% last year. The government says that the economic outlook for 2024 is positive, but companies all over America are acting as if extremely hard times are ahead. So what are we supposed to believe? All right. And that's that confusion that's set forth from every side, man. People don't know what to trust, what the hell is going on. All right. That perplexity, as the scriptures speak about, you know. So, man, it's man, heavy times. That's all I got to say, man. So I'll leave it like that, man. I just wanted just to follow up on these articles that we talked about at camp. All right, just to show you that, hey, this is the real deal, man. So, hey, just continue to prepare, continue to remain upon your watch and be occupied in prophecy, man. So I pray this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. And double salutation to all you Akim out there laboring in the house of David the elect. Is pushing his word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you, brothers, and shalom to the elect. Shalom.